Okay, y'all. Bought this light thingy. One of those ring light thingies. So I didn't look all dead. How you doing tonight? So I said I was going to go ahead and do a little video about these planets. Let me make sure this is turned up all the way. Just in case. Just to make sure. Okay. So hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to try to project my voice. For those that don't know, I've been studying I'm 46 years old. I've been studying astrology. I'm almost 47 in February. Anyway, I've been studying astrology since I was 18. I've taken classes. I've done lots of reading. There's a lot of self-teaching, but I started doing them professionally in my late 20s, charts meaning. Started doing professional astrology chart reading. You hear that? That's called gale force winds. It's a stormy night here in the Pacific Northwest. It's rainy and stormy, so hopefully you're going to hear me over that. But it's, whew, I live right on the coast. It's coming in hard tonight, y'all. Anyway, like I said, 46, been studying astrology since I was 18, started doing professional readings in my late 20s after I did a little stint of just casework and doing readings for free. Late 20s, early 30s, put together an Astrology 101 course that I taught at several different metaphysical shops throughout the Southern California area. I've been a witch since I was 19, which wasn't a popular thing to be then. You kind of had to keep it a secret. Well, I didn't, but most people thought you should. I refused. I wore my pentacle all the time, just like I do now. And I would like for this to be closer so you guys could see me better, but this is just the way it's going to have to go for now. I haven't really set up my office to do videos, so I'm just kind of starting to get to that. Anyway, let's get to it. I said I was going to do a video because I made a short little post talking about the fact that Saturn moved into Aquarius on December 17th. A lot of people have been waiting for that, especially anybody who's in the category of a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs are what I call the bossy signs when I teach my classes. They include Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn. So Saturn's been in Capricorn, I think it was since 2016. I'm going to look it up. I don't always have all the numbers solid in my head. I got a lot of stuff going on, but I keep my mind on when it's coming. Yeah, it is 2016. Actually, I'm a liar. I'm lying. Wrong. That can't be because it's already almost 2021. So Saturn stays in the same sign for roughly 2.5 years. It comes back to the place of your birth, roughly 29.46 years. I like to use a 10-degree cushion, if you will, or orb. So if you're born in the middle of a particular sign, Saturn costume, I call the signs the costumes, the planets are basically the characters. So let's say you're born at Saturn at 15 degrees, you're going to feel it the whole entire time. If you're born in an earlier degree or a later degree, you're going to feel it later or earlier, and you'll be over it. But it usually takes a couple years to get through our Saturn return. So anybody between the ages of 27 and 30 or 57 and 60 has been going, and if you're lucky and you live longer, 85-ish, 86, you've been going through your Saturn return. Now, what does this have to do? I'm going to give you a couple of little things here, little tidbits. I'm going to talk about what it has to do with the state of our if you live in the United States, our country specifically, but then also personal, right? Most people want to know personal, how it's going to affect them. So if you were any of those signs I spoke about earlier, the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, this Saturn in Capricorn for the last 2.5 years, which I have it right here. It started in December 20th. That's right. Okay, that's right. I remember now. I remember. You remember? uh, December 20th, 2017. So anyway, if you were any of those signs, it's been a particularly tough 4 years, especially in the last year, because Jupiter was also in Capricorn. Okay, and during that year, Jupiter went into Capricorn October of 2019, and it's just moved out recently and gone into Aquarius as well. Yeah, December 20th, actually tomorrow. Jupiter will go into Capricorn. Jupiter will go into Aquarius. Saturn went into Aquarius on the 17th. Venus went into Sagittarius on the 16th. We've had a lot of stuff going on here, okay? And there's some sweet relief in that because because of Mars' retrograde act, Mars is the planet of war, right? It's been in Aries for most of the year. We had a little bit of relief in the beginning of the year when we had Venus in Sag, and there was a trine going on there. But as soon as it moved into Capricorn as well, meaning Venus, it moved into Capricorn, it squared that Mars. That's when all of this mayhem started. And anybody who went to my class 2019, where I did a little forecast for the year, I warned people about the spring. We're going to have big money issues, things affecting the economy. I should have known that it was going to be some sort of pandemic, considering it was in the time of Pisces. Pisces rules infectious diseases and bacteria and things like that. So I should have known, but I didn't predict that. I just knew that we were gonna have big problems. So back to the Mars thing. Mars has been in Aries the entire year, pretty much, because of its retrograde motion. We don't get that very often. So with Mars in Aries, square all these planets in Capricorn, Pluto, Jupiter, Venus was there for a while. Venus moves a little quickly, unless she's going retrograde. We've had, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, these three planets have all been in Capricorn square Mars, okay? And I always use this symbol for square because it's a T-square, right? So what those do is could cause internal conflict. So and that's what's been happening with our country. We're going to start with the country. The United States is going through their Pluto return right now. A lot of astrologers know this. I came upon it in 2016, did a little YouTube video, and talked about it. It dawned on me doing a solar return for another client. I was like, holy shit. Pluto hasn't been in Capricorn since the Declaration of Independence was signed. So I knew we were going to be going through some kind of major revolutionary type energy, okay? Capricorn in its greatest expression is the great reformer. We like to think of Capricorn as being, the one that always follows the rules and is kind of like a hill climber, will step on people's heads to go to where they need to be. That Capricorn energy is very, single-minded, selfish, and I'm going there, get out of my way, and so we like the common idea or understanding of Capricorn is that, but really Capricorn in its highest octave or greatest expression is the great reformer. A Capricorn who maintains his or her vision understands the importance of infiltration. You infiltrate, you get in, and then you reform, right? So you make things better. Anyway, the Mars square, all those Capricorn planets this year has been very difficult for the United States. It's also been difficult for people who are in the category of those signs. Anybody who's like square or in conjunct. But I just want to say square. And oppositions don't help either. You've probably been fighting with people if you've got a predominance of, let's say, Cancer in your chart. There's been a lot of conflict. So when there's oppositions that transit our chart, that usually manifests itself with people opposing you. It's hard not to pay attention to that. You hear that, y'all? I don't know if you can hear it. That's gale force winds flowing through pine trees right in my backyard. Be one of those nights. So the present, Jupiter going into Aquarius. It'll be there for a year. Jupiter stays in the same sign for 1 year. Okay, so it has not been in Aquarius for 12 years. That is great news, maybe for a little while if you are Aquarius. You're definitely going to start feeling a sense of pressure and the need to be more disciplined if you are one of the fixed signs, because Aquarius is a fixed sign as opposed to the cardinal sign. And so people who are fixed signs, that is, I'm going to start from the beginning of the zodiac and go forward. So the first fixed sign is Taurus, and then its opposite is Scorpio, right? So that creates an opposition. And then the other part of that grand square, or that grand cross, what we call the fixed grand cross, right, is Leo and Aquarius. So if you are Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius is going to be a tough time for you. And depending on where your Saturn is at in your chart, it could be a tough time. It's going to be great for me because my Saturn is in Gemini. So Gemini and Aquarius are both air signs. They're what they're called a trine. I've got a lot of air in my chart, even though I'm a Pisces and my Mercury's in Pisces, my Sun is in Pisces. Really, my chart is dominated by air. I've got a couple of double air grand trines in my chart. So, and then Mercury rules my first house because it's in Virgo. So, this actually is going to help me, but for those who are fixed signs, it's going to be a lot more difficult. And Jupiter, which is a very benevolent planet, you know, and Jupiter and Saturn having a party, because that's what I call it when there's a conjunction, because that's what we're going to be experiencing, is a conjunction. So this big thing about the Star of David that's going to be happening on Monday is Jupiter and Saturn both at 0 degrees. But what's really important to know about that is that's not the only day that you can see this conjunction. This conjunction is going to be going on for a good while between Saturn and Jupiter. In fact, and I most conjunctions are 5 degrees, okay? 5 degrees apart. I go with a 10-degree orb. I feel like it's still felt. The energy's still there. It's just really cringy when, you know, a conjunction, I don't want to say cringy because not every planet having a party is a problem, but not all planets, you know, some planets get along, let's say, you know, like Jupiter and Venus will get along. Jupiter and Saturn is a combination of benevolence, which is Jupiter. Jupiter is the great, what we call the great benefic. And it creates luck. It rules luck, abundance, auspicious, you know, moments, and serendipitous moments. And it's just that planet where all your fortune comes to you through. And so it's important to know where Jupiter's at, especially as it relates to your chart, because you'll know, like, whatever house that's in, you're going to have some good luck in that area that year, right? Or, you know, wherever Jupiter, yeah, for that year, because it stays in the sign for 1 year. So there's that. But when it's having a party with Saturn, the planet, the Lord of Karma, and the planet of self-discipline, putting you through the ringer, making you do everything you have to do, you know, that can be a problem unless you see the silver lining. And so basically when Jupiter and Saturn are together having a party, it's basically saying, look, if you stay disciplined and you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to have huge, giant reward. Okay? And so, because Saturn, which rules Capricorn. That's the other thing. Saturn's been in its ruling sign for the last 2.5 years. So, you know, it's been tough. It's been tough, especially for the United States and its chart. Back to the fixed sign. Remember I said Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. This is not going to be easy for you all the next couple, 2.5 years. It's really not. And for the next year, you know, you may feel that motivation because Jupiter's right next to Saturn energizing it. You might feel that motivation to get things done, and there will be great reward, but there'll be some difficulties. Okay? If you're opposite Aquarius, if you're a Leo, you've got a predominance of planets in Leo. Like for my homegirl Michelle, she's gonna watch this. You know, her moon is in Leo and her sun is in Scorpio. So there's going to be a lot of conflict that comes up in the next couple years. And if it's handled right, it'll be to your benefit. But if not, it could be, you know, tough. So there's that. Remember, we have 7-year cycles with Saturn. So if you're right around, you know, 35-ish, 36-ish, you might be going through a square. Meaning Saturn in your chart is going to be square where Saturn's at. So by transit. So in real time where Saturn is in Aquarius. If you have like Saturn in Leo, or you've got Saturn in Taurus, you know, Saturn in Scorpio, then there's going to be more issues. But keep that in mind as you go forward. You just got to stay disciplined. This is our moment of discipline if we are fixed signs. And really for everybody, but if you're an air sign and you're what we call semi-sextile, which, you know, if you're Capricorn or Pisces, which is on either side of Aquarius, it's going to be helpful to you. Okay, it won't be so many hard lessons going on. Keep that in mind. And with Venus going into a Sagittarius, that, you know, Sag and Aquarius are what we call semi-sextile, okay? They get along pretty good. They're both masculine signs. So that's good. And they're going to be in that position, but not very long. In fact, it's by Christmas, that semi-sextile is going to be over, which is a great conversation between planets. When I say semi-sextile, I say opposition, square, trine, all of these things. There are conversations between planets is what they really are. So there's that. Now, I saw a post, my homegirl just posted, Michelle, about Aquarius. And yeah, that we're going to have a lot of planets in Aquarius. We'll get to that in a moment. But remember, this conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter, you can benefit from that for a good while here. I'm going to tell you exactly when they get too far apart. This is an ephemeris. This has every planet in every sign for every day of every year for 50 years. I have one that's 100 years, and then this is from 2000 to 2050. Let's see here. Saturn moves a lot slower. Of course, Jupiter faster. Okay, so right around the middle of March. Right around the middle of March is when Jupiter and Saturn are going to start going like that. And maybe I'll do another one then, or I'll do some more videos and I'll try to pinpoint more things. But just so you know, middle of March, they're going to start splitting off and getting farther and farther apart from each other. Jupiter will be in Aquarius until... my older daughter's birthday, December 29th. So that's when Jupiter will go into Pisces, which I'm totally looking forward to because it's going to be going right into my personal year number 8, and I'm excited about that. That's for another video. So keep that in mind. Now, and that goes for being able to see them close to each other in the night sky. They've been talking about this Star of Bethlehem that hasn't happened since the 1200s, right? Since since the 13th century. So, that being said, if, like, for me, I won't be able to see it. Well, you hear what's going on out there. It's raining and storming. It's going to stay that way. We're not going to have any sunshine till Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's the winter in the Pacific Northwest, and so seeing stars is stars and all of these, meteor showers and all that shit. That don't happen up here in the winter hardly, because it's just too damn rainy. So hopefully on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when it's supposed to be like partial, I'll get a little glimpse. But if not, it's going to stay that way till spring, and I will get a glimpse of them being pretty close to each other. They've been doing it they've been pretty close for the last year anyway. So there's that. Now let's talk about this, all of these planets. This is one of my tarot cards. It's like this is my reading table. So, yes, I need these glasses. I'm getting old. These phones don't help, y'all. Let's see here. January. Okay. So, January 20th, this next year is when the sun goes into Aquarius. Okay. And then the new moon will be, let's see. The new moon is going to be the 10th and the 11th of February. Okay. Now, on that day, the sun will be in Aquarius. The moon will be in Aquarius. Mercury will be in Aquarius. Venus will be in Aquarius. Jupiter, of course, and Saturn will also be in Aquarius, and still very close to each other, only 6 degrees apart. That is nothing in the night sky. So we won't be able to see it though, because it's new moon, right? So, I mean, it's February. It still gets dark a little early. It's a possibility, but usually, I mean, we might be able to see a little bit of it. You know what I mean? Like maybe right after sunset, you may be able to see this alignment. But there's going to be this, because remember, the new moon is when the sun and the moon are right next to each other. Okay? Full moon is when the sun is fully shining on the moon. So it has to be opposite. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about, the full moon and what sign the full moon's going to be in and all that shit. The full moon is always opposite the sun. So if we're in Capricorn or we're in Aquarius or whatever sun sign we're in, the full moon's going to be opposite that. That's an easy way to just remember it in your mind. New moon, same as the sun. Full moon, opposite. So the 10th and 11th, we're going to have a pretty amazing alignment with the moon involved. What does this mean? Well, Aquarius, first of all, Aquarius rules astrology. Aquarius rules, open-mindedness, innovation. It rules humanitarianism. It rules science and technology. It rules revolution and giving up the old in favor of what's new and better. What we want to make sure we caution ourselves with Aquarius is being a rebel without a cause. Just being rebellious to be rebellious and contrary. Capricorns, they have a tendency to be that way. Anyway. But we want to be careful with that, with all those planets in Aquarius, on a personal level. So you're going to be feeling it, Scorpio. You're going to be feeling it, Leo. For Leo, it's going to be fighting with people and oppositions. You know what I mean? For Taurus and Scorpio, which are square Aquarius, it's going to be more, internal conflict and maybe feeling like, things around you just don't feel quite right. We want to make sure we caution against just wanting to come out of our skin and be assholes just to be assholes. You know what I mean? So be careful with that. It's powerful energy, Aquarius. I mean, it used to be ruled by Saturn as well. now ruled by Uranus, the planet of chaos. Don't get me wrong. I mean, good things could come out of it, and good things probably will come out of it. But on a personal level, I want to caution the people who are dealing with the squares and the inconjuncts. Inconjuncts would be like anything that is not on either side of Aquarius, okay, but is either a water or earth sign, okay? They're 150 degrees apart in conjuncts. They also cause issues and problems, okay? So there's that. That's what that means. Jupiter is the planet of benevolence. It rules Thursday. It rules Sagittarius. This is the good time planet. This is the generous, warm, gonna give to you planet. Saturn is not. Saturn is you don't get anything without working for it planet, and I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire, and you will pay for your mistakes planet. That's what Saturn is. So when they're having a party up in the sky between now and March, just remember, anything you put you put your energy to, any changes you want to make, you want to shed the old behavior patterns. This cliche saying, those things that do not serve you anymore. All, all of that new agey stuff. Oh shit, you hear that? Damn, it's getting loud, y'all. So all of those things are to your benefit with Jupiter, having that conversation with the Saturn and saying, okay, that person put a little effort in. Let's sprinkle a little something else on there, a little extra. That's what Jupiter's going to do. We're going to bring a little extra on that because you worked for something. Where, if Jupiter wasn't there and having that conversation with Saturn, then maybe, you'd have to work super, super hard with very little reward. Okay, keep that in mind. So that's it, y'all. That is it. Pretty much. That's the whole Saturn thing. So I know people that were kind of anticipating or waiting on my Facebook page after I posted that. Gina, I know you're a Leo, so this is not going to be easy for you, honey. I would definitely study your chart a little bit and know that there'll be some opposition coming at you over the next year, especially. So it could be at work. It just depends on where it hits in your chart as far as the houses. It could be, where you're being called, if it's you've got Leo in the 5th house, then you're being called to be a little bit more creative, but you're feeling pressure from friends and from the outside world that you need to stay the same when really you don't. So, but it'll be internal conflict, I mean oppositional conflict for you. People will oppose your ideas and oppose things like that. If it has to do with work, which is the 6th house, then it'll be at work and the way you work, and you may have to change up the way you work, and the way that that's going to be triggered is because somebody's going against you, as opposed to the Taurus and Scorpio thing where it's more internal. It's more of a sense of, it comes from the inside out. Nobody's out there triggering you. It's not really. It's coming from inside. It's internal conflict. Okay, well that's it. I guess maybe I'll do another one of these some other time, and that was probably a lot of information. I'm sure I'll learn how to get more concise about these things as time goes on, and I'll make some notes. And this is really just like impromptu, turn on the light, turn on the camera, and I just started talking. So because I've been doing this a long time, and I know a little bit about it. So Libras. Let's see, Libra, Gemini, Sag, Aries, and not the Leo. Leo's fire, but that's opposite. But the other ones that I talked about, the fire signs and the air signs, this is going to be a time of great gains if you manage the energy properly. Great gains. And if you are an Aquarius, can also be a time of great gains if you manage the energy properly. And that's all. You guys got any questions? Let me know. What I'm going to do is I have a YouTube channel that everything that I post on there is private. And if you don't have a link, you can't see it because I do readings. And sometimes I have to email readings, long readings to people. And I use YouTube for that. So I'll go ahead and put this up on my page. And y'all can check it out. Okay? Have a great solstice on Monday. Don't forget to manifest. We're in the waxing phase right now, right? New moon was on the 14th. So dream boards. This is the time to do dream boards and dream big. Nothing is too big, okay? Don't stay in a small mindset. Get big with that. I did my dream board last year around September. And everything on that dream board that I put energy towards, I accomplished it. All of it. So don't underestimate the power of a dream board. And maybe I'll do a little video about that at another time. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Have a good night. Bye-bye.